Faces on this chilly morning, and some familiar faces at that. Okay, so we've got a few more joining. I suspect a few more will over the next few minutes, but we'll start. Welcome everyone to our second event in our new series, Impact Through Collaboration, How Evidence-Based Research and Evaluation Can Better Support the Nonprofit Sector. My name, as Lynn mentioned, is Emily Grafton, and I work at the University of Regina as the Indigenous Research Lead. So this series has evolved out of many conversations with my colleagues at the U of R, Drs. Lynn Goodluck and Michelle Stewart, and also with our friends at the City of Regina, Kelly Huzak, who's on the line, and also Dave Slater. The group of us spend a lot of time with nonprofit groups and researchers thinking through and talking about research, program development, program evaluation. And we see this series as one way to sort of address some of the complexities within these conversations and also broaden our audiences. So welcome to our second event, the do's and don'ts when applying for community-based research. This is a workshop led by Dr. Liz Cooper, who teaches in the Faculty of Kinesiology at the U of R. I'd like to start with an acknowledgement that we are meeting virtually in Treaty 4 territories. These are the ancestral lands of the Cree, Saulteaux, Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis and Michif nations. So this means that these nations have lived in this region long before it became Canada, and they continue to share these lands with newcomers. I myself am a member of the Métis Nation, and I grew up in Treaty 1 territory. So I do consider myself a newcomer to this territory. And with this, I have new relations to form and protocols to learn. In fact, I met Dr. Cooper in Treaty 1 territory. We completed our PhDs together, defended the same summer through the University of Manitoba. So Liz is a dear friend of mine, and she's an incredible community-based researcher. I'm so excited to have her here today and to learn alongside you. And so with that, I will turn it over to my friend, Dr. Cooper.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'm going to do a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation, and I'll turn it on and off. And I'll probably do that wrong if you listen to any of my students talk about my technology needs. So we're going to talk a little bit about the do's and don'ts when applying for community-based grants. And one of the things that we want to be thinking about is these are just some things that I've picked up over the years and that I've been told. So really, when we're working in communities, and when I'm working in communities, a lot of what I do is based on what other people told me and me trying to apply that shared learning, right? I think that's what we're really great at as people who've worked in communities, is doing this shared back and forth and everybody working towards making the world a little bit better. So some housekeeping. Of course, if we were in person, we would be writing this on some whiteboard with some markers and I'd be spelling words wrong. But since I got to do this in advance, I had spell check. So I probably still spelled words wrong. So just forgive me. We're going to have a parking lot. So when you type your questions in, as you think about them, the moderators are going to keep track of them. So it's going to be a virtual parking lot for your ideas. If it's really relevant immediately, they will interrupt me and I will clarify whatever I'm talking about. Otherwise, we'll hold some of the questions to the end. Respect is fundamental, right? So I want to make sure we respect everybody. We come from different backgrounds. We come from different ages, different locations, different genders, different colors of hair, maybe different numbers of fingers and toes. So we're all learning together. I believe everybody has something to teach us, no matter if they're brand new babies, if they're seniors, whoever it is, everybody's got something to teach. So we're going to learn together and be respectful of each other. Bathroom, because we're trying to make this as much like in person as possible. If you need to go, just go, right? You don't need to raise your hand. If you need to pee, go pee, but keep your mic off and your camera off. I actually have a friend whose husband is a professor, and he went to the bathroom and forgot to turn his webcam off. It was very embarrassing. So let's not do that. And that is not what we want this to be a session we are remembered for. I'm going to make the slides available on the Google Drive. You guys are going to get access to a Google Drive when we're going to take a short little break. And after the session's over, I'm going to put the PowerPoint slides up probably within 10 to 15 minutes after we finish, so you can see these. Remember, the slides are just a bit of a snapshot, so it's kind of like more of a memory twig, which is why I didn't give it to you in advance. Also, I might not have finished working on it till late at night last night. So just in full disclosure, so that but you will get these. We're going to, what we're going to do today is we're going to really think about some of the do's and don'ts for applying for grant. We're going to think about ongoing evaluation. So there's evaluation of the people who decide, should you get all the fancy money? And then there's the people who are on your team who are helping you make sure that you're actually meeting the needs that you want to meet. So we're going to kind of think about both of those things at the same time. And we're going to have a chance to do a little bit of collaboration on a planning exercise. So the way this is going to work is we're going to have an introduction, which is what we're doing now. We're going to do some really short breakout rooms, like 4-minute breakout rooms. Okay, so really, really short. Please don't leave. Lynn Gidluck told me sometimes people leave, so please don't leave or I might cry. And then I actually put on a little bit of makeup today and that would go really badly. So please come back after the 4 minutes. And then we're going to do a presentation called Don't Put the Cart Before the Horse. And it's going to be some tips and tricks thinking through when you're working towards developing up your plan and your proposal. And we're going to have a dance break because, you know, why not have a dance break? That'll be your time to go to the bathroom too. Then we're going to do breakout rooms. Myself, Kelly Husak, Lynn Gidluck, and Emily Grafton are going to help go between rooms, and we're going to have a chance to kind of see what's happening and help answer questions. Through that, we're going to actually do a little bit of work around evaluation. This is something that I find is really, really powerful when I do evaluation workshops in person. So I hope that you find it valuable too. It's not going to be too long. If you need to go and then come back, you can. After that, we're going to do another presentation about money, budgets, some tips and tricks, like actual how to write stuff that's really, really important. And then we'll do some Q&A and wrap up. So figure out how you're going to manage your time. I know everybody's busy and multiple things come up and you're juggling. We're all master jugglers. You don't do community work if you're not a master juggler. So feel free to come in and out as you need to. And of course, you can email me later and I'll answer whatever questions I can. So who am I? I grew up in Winnipeg on Treaty 1 territory and the homeland of the Métis Nation. That's where my parents grew up. That's where 2 of my grandparents grew up. My grandmother grew up just outside of Kamsack and Saskatchewan, and my grandfather grew up just outside of Swan River. I identify as a settler. So my grandfather's family was Sami from Sweden. My grandmother's family was Polish. My father's family, I'm 7th generation European, mainly British settler. And I did my undergrad degree. When I started university, I couldn't decide what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I took classes. So I had a boyfriend, and I was totally going to marry my boyfriend from when I was 17, because, you know, everybody marries their 17-year-old abusive boyfriends who spend all their money. So my grandfather got very upset with this. My parents were upset and they stopped talking to me, and I was very close to my grandfather. And they said, no, you're going to university. If you want to marry this guy, marry this guy. I did not marry this guy, but they said, you know, go to university and figure stuff out, figure out what you want to be. But in the meantime, I'd waited too long to register. So I just took classes that were interesting, and I was paying for it myself. I worked for nonprofits. I worked with people with disabilities, volunteered with Girl Guides. I had done a little bit of traveling already. I taught violin, I taught singing, and I played music in bars. I played music at weddings, and I knew how hard I'd worked to get in the nonprofit world. I knew how hard I'd worked in the arts world. And I was like, nope, I'm not taking classes that are boring, and I'm not paying extra money for classes with labs, because that seems like a waste of time, because I was 17, 18, and I didn't know better. And so I did a degree in world religions. And it just happened. I signed up the Thursday before classes started, and I just took courses that were interesting. So I took courses on dance and religion. I took courses on environmental studies. I took courses I got to spend a summer up in the Arctic. And because I was already working in nonprofits, because I was doing a lot of volunteer work, I knew how important it was to be engaged in community. And I got an opportunity after my undergrad to go to India. And I went to India for a year and I volunteered with Girl Guides as the event administrator. So part of my role for that, it was helping to do some grant development and fund development and fundraising and major gifts with people from across the world, including engagement with UN and WHO and Doctors Without Borders and all sorts of other interesting places. I came back to Canada, I started my master's, and I still worked because I did my master's in Native Studies. And so I worked with at communities with people with disabilities still, and I did some work. I've done work with the YWCA, I did other work, and then I started working for Canadian Diabetes doing fund development. So again, that grant piece and that fundraising piece for how do we keep nonprofits going. And as I was doing that, I was finding that I wasn't able to have a solid voice as I wanted, or as strong a voice. And so I actually talked to the CEO for Canadian Diabetes at that point. And I said, what do I do? I'm seeing problems, I'm seeing challenges. We're not making things move faster. We're not making things move forward. We're not getting the money we need. We're not getting the program we need. When we have it, it's not working. What do we do? How can we do this? I already was almost done my master's. And she said, do a PhD. Then you can apply for funds differently. Then you can help teach people. Then you can help be a voice, and you can help other people raise their voice. So I started working for a professor in medicine who is a geographer, and she's fantastic. And she's a Métis scholar. And I did a PhD in medicine. And during my PhD, I got to work in New Zealand, and I got to do a term looking at the role of evaluation and grantsmanship and with Maori and Pacifica researchers. Then I did I've done some more work in India. I worked in Kenya. I've worked with colleagues in Colombia. I've worked in the Arctic. I've worked from coast to coast. I still work from coast to coast, and all my work is community driven. So from when I worked with Canadian Diabetes, my commitment has been, if a community says this is something we need, our voice is not being heard as strongly as we want it to be, I say, okay, I'll help. If somebody's just like, yeah, this is kind of neat, and if they say whatever you want, that's not the type of work I want to do. I want to do work that's really helping to make a difference and push people's agendas forward. So, and because I worked in the nonprofit sector, because I did fundraising, because I banged on doors asking and begging for money, I am really committed to working with communities for how can we make sure we get the resources in place. And a lot of the time that's in-kind contributions too. That's having the people, that's having the infrastructure, that's having a little bit of money. And I know how to make a dollar stretch. I'm the oldest of 4 kids, and my parents were fairly young parents. So I learned how to make a dollar stretch. And in the nonprofit world, we make a dollar stretch. University world, we make a dollar stretch. If we can make a dollar, get a little bit more dollars and make those stretch, it's even that much better. So the pictures here, we have me and my dog at the lake. This is in India with my good friend Nirmala at a community celebration. That's a friend's daughter when I was in Kenya. This is with Métis kids this is with First Nations and Métis kids in Manitoba working on food security work. And this was about culture in BC with Métis children. And this is a picture that was from the Regina Leader Post a couple weeks ago for celebrating a grant that I just won to work with young Indigenous men up north. So I want you guys, we're going to put you into little breakout rooms again, remember 4 minutes, but first, before we do that, so you're gonna share, you all were supposed to bring something or think of something that makes you laugh, and then think of a group name. And then think of one thing that you kind of need as a group to feel supported, because we're trying to make this like a real in-person workshop. So I'm going to stop my share. I said 10 minutes there, it's not. We're gonna do just 5 minutes. So my thing that makes me laugh is this crown. Do you see my beautiful crown? Because I am a queen. And one of my friends said the other day we were talking, I was like, I don't know how to make sure that I'm able to.
You look nice.
Oh, thank you. I plan on wearing it all the time, actually. And so she's like, you need to she's like, you do so much with communities, and with communities, we try and support each other, right? And we try and like make sure the people that we're serving and our clients and our patients and our participants are really the focus and the center. And we often put ourselves at the back seat, right? And we're like, no, this is about them. This is about helping them. This is about their stories. And it's about holding space for the people we support. And she's like, it's great that you do that, but you got to sometimes put on your own crown and just say like, I'm amazing too. And so I looked online and I found a package of crowns. It came like a pack of 6 and they had stickers. And I bought them, and it was like good for ages 3+ for princess birthday parties. And I was like, I might as well just do this. This was like 2 weeks ago. And then I packaged up a couple and sent them to professor friends around the country. I was like, you should be a queen too, with stickers. And then of course, I'm really bad at keeping secrets. So I told them all the crowns were coming. So that is what makes me laugh. And Lynn, can you show us what makes you laugh? You're on mute.
Sure, put me on the spot.
I warned you guys.
Pretty much everything makes me laugh. I'm a very comical person, so like I don't really have any one thing. So I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Well, hopefully when you guys get in your breakout rooms, you know this is coming. Kelly, how about you? What's something that makes you laugh?
So and we were talking a little bit earlier, just before everyone else joined, about dogs. And I would say it's my 2 dogs that make me laugh. I don't have them with me right now or like a picture or anything, but I would say they do. So their names are Rio and Augie, and they are complete opposites, but big sources of joy in my life.
And how about you, Emily? What's something that makes you laugh?
I mean, I think the question is more, what doesn't make me laugh? But I think maybe if we could think about like the things that bring me the most joy in life are probably my 2 young children, and they do make me laugh constantly because they are hilarious, absolute little troublemakers who get into everything, as they should at 18 months and 3.5 years. Yeah.
So, and part of thinking about this is the reason why I like to do this is I believe in what's called strength-based work. So that's when we're looking towards the positive. So you still get all the negative, you still get all the negatives, you still get all the problems, but you're trying to look at it with a self-care lens. And I think as people who work in nonprofit or in community-based work, we see a lot of hard things, right? I was telling my students the other day, I've worked with 2-year-olds who've been sexually abused. I've worked with adults who've been made vulnerable through different systems. I've worked with people who are homeless. I've worked with people whose lives are just collapsing around them, and their stories you just cry, right? And so we need to do that self-care. We need to remember that there are positives and there are good things. And those smiles, because that's what we have to come back to. Nonprofits, community-based work, we work hard, long hours. Sometimes I think about some of my colleagues. I was like, I should have been a historian and stayed doing that and not been working 80-hour weeks where I'm sitting outside in the cold, drinking lukewarm coffee and listening to some things that are going on in people's lives, or cutting out the number of things I've cut out, stickers I have cut out and made packages for, I'm sure, or like envelopes I've stuffed. I'm sure you can all think about all the envelopes you've stuffed in your years. And so we need to kind of remember that joy and that piece of joy, that's things that spark joy in our lives. So that's kind of why we're doing this. So we're going to put you in breakout rooms, no more than 5 minutes. You'll get the warning at 4 minutes. Share something that makes you laugh. Think about something you need to feel supported as a group. Okay, are there any questions before we do the little breakout rooms?
Nothing.
All right. Okay. Lynn, did you want to put them in breakout rooms, or do you want me to?
Why don't you do it, since you know how many people you want in the...
Oh, she thinks I know things. This is a myth.
Okay, you make me laugh, Elizabeth.
If I could interrupt with a quick question.
Yep.
I think the slide showed what we're meant to accomplish in our group, but you've taken that one down. I wonder if we could just put it in the chat or somewhere to make sure that we're on top of everything that we want to accomplish in this short period of time.
Yeah, we can do that.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Lynn, I cannot seem to find the thing to put people in the rooms. I know
You got to press a little more button, and it brings up breakout rooms. But if you tell me how many people per room you want, I will.
Oh, just put maybe 6 to 8. And I'm not seeing a more button here. I don't know where it is.
Okay. I think people should be in the rooms.
Yeah, they should be. I can't set it up or move between the rooms.
Yeah, I don't.
So I'm gonna have to just have you do this.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if I can do that.
Well, you don't need, like right now, we won't worry about it.
Yeah, because I guess we should have had a little practice run or something. No, I don't think it matters because for what they're doing right now, like
No, this is just, I'm just trying to make this feel like a workshop.
yeah, so no, it's looks like everybody must be in the rooms anyway, so I pressed that button, right?
When you click on the link for the Google Drive, does it show you like the subfolders?
Yep.
Okay.
In the email you sent me, so you're like, so you've got the link and we're just, when the time comes, you're just gonna kind of copy and paste it into the chat, I assume, Liz. That's probably the easiest.
Yeah, and then with that link, does it, well, if you click on one of the subfolders, you can open them, hey?
Yeah, I'll just test it again here because I wasn't able to get into, let me see here, link to Google folders here because I was trying it right now. Yeah.
Okay, good, because I wasn't sure because I've never done this before.
Yeah, it's got, okay. Yes.
All right. So how many breakout rooms did we end up with?
We ended up with, I think it was, just let me see here. 7 with like 6 in each room.
Okay. So you think is it okay so far?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Okay. I hate like the blank screens. I'm really big into like reading people's expressions when you're talking.
Yeah, this is not easy for sure. This kind of format for stuff, like it's definitely less than ideal.
Yeah.
You have to just try to like imagine that you're actually seeing people, because yeah, it's weird. Like,
Did you like my crown?
I did. That was great.
Yeah, self-care, we forget about that a lot, I think, with community-based work, is the self-care piece.
No, that is definitely true.
And we think of self-care as like, I'm gonna go for a manicure or pedicure.
Yeah, that's true.
And we forget that self-care is really just about finding time for little bits of joy here and there.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been thinking a lot about this lately. Do you want to give people, just send a message? You can send a message to the breakout rooms and say 2-minute warning.
Okay. And then I guess I should give myself a little 2 minutes here on my.
Well, if you do 1 minute, because after 1 minute.
Oh, it's already gone out as 2 minutes. Oh yeah, and then
And that gives them 60 seconds.
it'll automatically come back in. That's right.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting. It's been a while since I did that. You're right. It does the little.
Yeah, I do breakout rooms in my classes.
Then it automatically kicks you out. I'm forgetting. Ooh.
Oh, the community person in PAGC sent me a message saying it's too late for today, but I want to do the other ones. So that's nice.
Oh, that's good.
They just sent me a message saying, can they join or are they too late? So I'll just send them the link. If they want to join, they can. I don't think they will, but it's nice that they are trying to be.
I'm not sure how this recording is gonna work, just because I forgot to press stop. And so we're gonna have our chatter, and that may not work now that I think about it.